brevity is the soul of wit, so I really keep things succinct here. I usually I invite each artist up, and they'll basically be on stage for each of the three of them will be on stage for 20 minutes. So the first 5 minutes they will talk about their musical background. They will talk about the song that they're going to perform. They'll get into details about their process, their inspiration, um, things that they want the audience to listen to. If they're looking for, if it's something that's in a work in progress and they want feedback, they'll highlight what they'd be interested in getting feedback on. Then they'll have up to 5 minutes to perform their song, and then we'll have 10 minutes for Q&A. Then then after each of the three artists share their work, then I'll have a brief moment at the end where people can raise their hands and say what sort of thing they have to offer or what sort of thing they are seeking in terms of moving forward their musical and creative endeavors. And so that's another way to help, create connections amongst all of us. And then we'll close out the evening, and people can come on stage, and we can have an open mic jam session. We don't have as much equipment as we have had in the past, but there's still some things to play around with. And yeah, we'll be here through 10:30. Oh, that's at the end. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. Um, yeah, and so like I said, I usually just call up the names of the people performing, but I think for this performance, I think it's worth doing a little bit more highlighting, just because of how much of a community show and how meaningful this particular show is to me. The first artist that's coming up, she and I actually met the day that I conceived of the idea of Soundshop, and so she means a lot to me. She's one of my best friends, and she also helped me run Soundshop in the early days. She now lives in Pittsburgh, and she is back for this week, and we've been having a blast, and I'm super excited to call her to the stage. Lauren Sattler.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. So, the basis of my entire performance, I'm coming back into songwriting. I've been on and off into this pretty much for my whole life, but it's just been calling to me lately. So I'm back here, and thank you so much for that generous introduction, Akpanaloa. It means so much. I had so much fun on that first day that you can see Soundshop chatting with you about everything. Actually, we're going to touch on one of the songs I showed you tonight, so that's really exciting. As I continue to be a disaster on stage. Cool. So, yes, as Akpanaloa said, my name's Lauren Sattler. I currently live in Pittsburgh. I've also lived in various other places before as well. I'm going to start the story in Pittsburgh, or in Philadelphia, though. So in Philly was the last time I really wrote songs and wrote music together with a band that I was in. And previous to that, I had just been doing covers, and my favorite thing to do is take electronic dance music and break it down into a really cool, moody acoustic arrangement, and just be me and my guitar. And I've done a sound shop doing that before, showing the difference between Skrillex's remix of Benny Benassi's Cinema and all that dubstep stuff, and then how I just turned that into a beautiful acoustic arrangement. So when I was getting back into songwriting, I really wanted to do something that kind of resonated with me like that. So I decided to reverse engineer it. So that's going to be what I show you tonight. Now, this song is called Holding Thy Own, that I'm going to play for you right now. And I'm going to show you the initial, what I wrote in probably the fastest amount of time I ever wrote a song. I pretty much would do all the chords and the melodies, and then my eventual singer, she would give me the lyrics, and then I'd do all the work and give it back to her, and then the bandmates would write the parts. And so this is the first part, and then I'm going to play for you the full song, and then after that I'm going to play for you what I am now currently working on, which is a kind of electronic rework of it. So please bear with me. This is my first performance in many, many years, so thank you very much. This is actually a Club Curious house guitar. I left all mine at home. Forgetting you affect others apart from your lovers is her big bad toothache. Believing deep in your impact, but this time it was more than she could take, than she could take. She begged, don't let me be your only sunshine. While the sky's gray and paint your visions to silver lines. Undress your mind, guilt is ignorance. Bleed out like wine, shame's a petty thing. You're just holding my hand. Isn't it what we are to think? And so, for the next part, I will now show you what my bandmates did with that. So, here's how all of that came together. Just 1 second, I just have to get my Wi-Fi going. And then everything will revive itself. That was the full version. Thank you. Recording that in the studio is actually a lot of fun. I had so much fun on those days. We went in over the course of a couple of weeks, and it was just quite the experience. If you ever are holding back from recording in a studio for any reason as a musician or creating music, I highly suggest just going for it. It's worth every penny. You'll remember it forever. But anyway, moving along. Now I'm going to double check that everything is set up, and I'm going to show you what I've been working on lately, which lately has been mostly the bass line and what I'm going to layer on top of it. And you know what? I might try to play my guitar over top of it too, but we'll see. I have not practiced it all the way yet, so I've rewritten this arrangement approximately 55,000 times in the last month, and I've also only been using Ableton for the last month as well. So this is thank you, Akpanaluo, for helping me to get to this point. I never would have done it if I was not having to sit on this stage right now. So my future successes will all go back to you. Maybe I'll even give you 1%. It's on video now, so. Anyway, let's see if this works. There we go. Forgetting you affect others apart from your lovers. And survey that do they? Something like that. We'll get there eventually. So, hey, you guys heard the first go around of whatever that's going to end up being. So stay tuned. I promise you, I will make sure an update gets out to the Soundshop universe of where this goes and where I end up with it. So it's not going to take another month. I can assure you that. I am so close to being free in my time and being able to work on this full time. A little bit more time, not full time. Anyway, thank you, everyone. All that said, I have no idea how I'm doing on timing. I feel like that was super duper short, but everything is always longer than you think it is. So that was 9.5 minutes. Look at that. Anyway, question time. Who has questions, comments, anything? Yes.
How did you find a singer and bandmates?
Back in Philadelphia, found my singer in a bar that I lived above. She was one of the bartenders, and I had a little crush on her. And so I invited her back up to my place and played some music for her, and then she played some music for me, and then we started doing covers together, and then that snowballed into writing songs together, and that then snowballed into her dating a drummer who then knew a amazing bassist who is still like one of my favorite people in the world. And then we all came together and started doing music. She broke up with that drummer and dated another drummer, and then broke up with me. Well, I broke up with them. They were not great bandmates, so it was not a very supportive environment. But yeah, and then I ventured off to New York and met Akpanoluo and started up with Soundshop things, and then wrote maybe 2 songs, and yeah. Yes. The song that I am sharing, well, a lot of my rhythm and motion is inspired by horses. I grew up riding horses. I ride horses still. That's one of the main reasons why I'm staying in Pittsburgh. It's to be able to afford the lifestyle of something that literally eats money. There's no other way to describe it. Actually, I think it would be cheaper if they ate money. So that aside, no jokes. But it's really been helpful for my mental health to be out there. And so that ends up working its way into my songwriting, because all the rhythms of horseback riding and everything, like every single rhythm I've ever put in a song, I've felt on the back of a horse. It's just playing with the speed of it. So, yeah. Anybody else? Yes.
How do you feel about alfalfa hay?
Alfalfa hay. I think that all horses should have alfalfa because it does not make them too hot. I think they should be better parents of those horses. And there we go. Anybody else? Yes. Yes, 100%. I was in middle school, and I saw Newfound Glory for the first. That was my first show, Newfound Glory at the 930 Club, which I don't know if you guys have ever been to 930 Club, but it is by far my favorite venue that I've ever been to in my life. And Newfound Glory played like their, what was it, that first album that everyone liked, and it was such a fun show. And I saw them, and their opening act was this local band called The Beans, and they blew it. But I looked at them and I was like, they booked this show and they're still doing it, and they're opening for this band I really love, and that's really cool that they're figuring this out and playing anyway. Like, you can't give up. You can't give up in the middle of your, so you got to make it through no matter how many times you blow it. So I found that to be absolutely spectacular, and that really inspired me to be like, I think anybody can do it, and I don't think it matters if as long as you're trying. So I know. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's fun. Honestly, it's just a lot of doodling. I put beats, you can, in Ableton, you have however many bars in each measure that you would like, because you can fine tune it, and then you click things and the notes pop up in it. But oftentimes I will honestly just play it out on the beat on my keyboard right now, because I don't have a MIDI thing yet, because I was like, you know what? I'll need that to start writing. I'll figure out what I want later. So I just started doodling on my keyboard, and I found out the beats that way, and it's a feeling. It's so deeply ingrained in me, and every song I like has similar rhythms. So it's kind of one of those things that I can't escape. It's more like I can't help but to add it into my music. In Ableton, it's like just playing with the different staccatoed beats and the different noises and layering them together, I guess. That way they come up in different, and you continue the circular motion, which is kind of like how I like to think about horse motion. Yes. Usually canter, but in polo you run as fast as you can after a tiny white ball and try and put it into a goal. So it's getting a lot faster now. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, I would say personal traumas have stopped me from writing, if we're going to be completely honest. I mean, music and expressing music on stage, as I described to one of my clients in my day-to-day work, which I work with a lot of data people and advertising people. They don't quite get into music too much. I was describing to him, it's like bawling on stage, but you're really excited to be able to cry on stage for everyone in front of you. It really feels that way. Like, when you see the musician completely lost in their work and then they kind of like snap out of it at the end, it's like crying. It's like you're done crying and you're like, oh my goodness, I hope they liked it. I hope it didn't look like a total mess. But it's a very vulnerable experience. And I'd say my biggest blocker has just been a fear of whether or not I will be accepted or something, or a fear that I'm not going to be good enough, or a fear that other people are doing it so much better than me. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, you know what? It doesn't matter if they're doing better, because I'm still going to do my own style. And maybe that'll resonate with someone. Like, look at the band Muna. That's really what got me back into songwriting this last go around. They got dropped by their label and everything. They ran out of an opportunity, and then Phoebe Bridgers picked them up, and they made one of the best albums I think that I've heard in years. So, and now they're going absolutely crazy. They're opening for Taylor Swift. She's talking them up. I'm not going to be able to go to a Small Muna show ever again, but I'm so excited for them, and they're really a driving force behind the last one, because they're very open about their struggles through all that stuff. So lots of therapy and a lot of wanting to do it myself. So it's just like that constant urge. You can't escape. It follows you everywhere. You can't hide. I will voice memo songs while I'm walking my dog through my neighborhood. I'm a crazy person. I'm sure my neighbors all love me. In Pittsburgh, it's more quiet than here. Anyone else? Yes. I do not own any, but I ride polo ponies. So varieties of thoroughbreds and hodgepodge creatures that like to run fast with other ponies. The size, but polo pony is an antiquated reference. Was it, I think, up until 1980 or 70? I'm mixing it up with the left-hand thing, but they were, before a certain point in time, the horse could not be taller than 14.2 hands, which is pony size. Yes. My personal experiences with people. Absolutely. Every single song that I write is based in a feeling that has been triggered by somebody else's actions towards me in any way possible. So a lot of times I used to only write really sad songs because that's a lot of the motivated actions that I would feel from people. But now that I've been working on myself more, I feel a lot more joy and a lot more love and acceptance from people. So that's coming through in my music, I think. I know. As a bandmate? Well, I would obviously need a Clydesdale so it could do the kick drum, right? Yes. Y'all. Muna, she goes, you're gonna say that I'm on a high horse. I think that my horse is regular sized. And then she goes on to say something about maybe you're on a pony going in circles in a carousel ride. Best horse reference. It's total burn. It's the best. And absorb all of Ableton all at once. Just download it inside of here so I can just be like, and then it's all done. I don't have to learn anything anymore, but what's the fun in that? Thank you.